Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Stupid O'Clock. I am your official Joey Bishop for tonight, and Al Hollifield. Joe Dog is slightly medicated and taking a nap. He may join us later if he wakes up in time. If he doesn't, then he needs his rest. He's a growing boy, after all. And tonight I have John and Stephanie and Bill with us, and we're just going to try and bull through the best way we know how. A word of warning: Last Man Standing may be a bit short tonight, but then again, these things they happen. So don't worry. We'll always come back on Thursday and next Saturday. So there you go. Let's see. Stephanie has sent us several things, and let's bring her up.
I am your duly officiated science reporter here.
Yep. Let me figure out how to bring you into the full screen.
Oh,
Oh my!
Nope,
no,
that don't work.
that's you
Uh,
full screen.
Stephanie,
that's
you grew a
That's
beard.
her full screen.
yeah. All right, John, you may have to help me with this.
Oh, uh,
Where's the?
uh,
There you go. That's what we wanted.
is
Right
that
there.
what you wanted?
Yep.
I
And
don't
let's
see
see.
why people want to look at me this big, but anyway.
Oh, it's just so that when we can bring up your oh, now I've got
Oh,
to go to
no,
the.
there's that one. So why is it not?
It's misbehaving tonight.
It is. That's what I wanted. Oh, there we go. Now I got it.
Okay.
That's a little bit better.
Well,
Yep.
you can still see us. So
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Um. Okay. You want
so
to start off with the comment?
sure. Um, First off, we've had a new comet discovery. Unfortunately, it's not going to be visible uh, with the naked eye here on Earth at all. It's not going to get in any further than the orbit of Saturn, but it is the biggest comet that has ever been discovered. It's fallen in, it's an object from the Oort cloud that has fallen into the inner solar system, inner being relative. And it is, believe it or not, an estimated 85 miles across. So
That's kind of sizable for a comet, isn't it?
it is. It most definitely is. But what we actually have, and I don't think there are any images of it because they did. Well, okay. There's one image of it. Here's the image link. I'll put it into.
Well, I just did that, and the blasted thing showed me something else entirely. I
oh, an
mean,
ad popped up.
yeah, an ad popped up bigger than all get out. There we
Okay,
go.
I just threw up the best they got on the imagery right now,
Oh my god.
which is not much, but believe it or not, no, that's not it.
Hang on a minute. I got it.
Oh, okay, go for it.
That is
Yours
a
is better.
comet. That
Yours
is
is
an
better
actual
though.
comet, but it's not this comet.
It's not this comet. That's
That's their picture of it.
Yes.
Yes, it looks like 1980s Atari photon torpedoes or something.
You will, but
hey, it
when you
works.
look when you look
Level
across the
3.
spectrum, you can get a lot of information out of it, which is how we know that it's 85 miles across. But basically, what this is really, you call it a comet because it's made of ice. But what it really is, it's basically Pluto's little brother.
Hmm.
So it's coming from the same general, way
How did
way
they?
on out there. The
How did they
Oort
find that?
cloud is the big ball of ice and dust that's left over from the solar system formation. And sometimes, if you get something out there perturbing it, like maybe a star came by a little too close, stuff will fall inward from the Oort cloud. Takes a long
How,
time to do,
how did
but
they get
eventually.
that? How did they find it? What did they use? Do you know?
Um, Let me go look at the article I've got. Dadgummit, quit this. Um,
Now, there's a difference between that and a planetesimal, isn't there? I mean, this is
yes,
ice, and planetesimals are more rock.
correct. The
Okay.
name of this one is Comet Bernardinelli Bernstein. So it had two discoverers, and it's about 10 times larger than the Chicxulub impactor. So we really don't want it to get any closer
Ooh,
than
we don't
Saturn.
want it to get any closer than Saturn. Yes, indeed, ma'am.
Um, let's see. I'm looking through the article to see if I can find how it was discovered. Um,
Oh, and
I'm
hello,
seeing how
Keisha.
they found the size of it. I'm not seeing how it was discovered. I can go dig if y'all are really interested. I can go dig into some of my emails
Well,
from the
if it's got two names, it sounds like they were using their own telescopes or something.
more than likely yes. Um,
Because
then
if it had been Hubble, they'd have said Hubble.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Um,
I'm wondering about this James Webb, telescope.
well,
Been-
they're in
It's
the
going to be
process.
neat, but it's not fully functional quite yet. They're still cooling it down and getting ready for uh,
Yeah, it's
opening season.
they're calibrating the imagery now. I've seen some of the calibration imagery. So, but yeah, I can go off here and look through because I get like Minor Planet mailing list emails and stuff like that, and I can go look and see what I can find out about the discovery. Um, the second piece of fascinating science news that I've got is that Proxima Centauri. Okay, everybody knows Alpha Centauri is the closest star to our own, right?
Correct.
Um,
Well,
vaguely, no.
Alpha,
Proximus.
Alpha Centauri is a trinary system,
Hmm.
3 stars. It's composed of Alpha Centauri A and Alpha Centauri B, which are relatively close together, and then Proxima Centauri, which orbits around the other two at a distance of about a tenth of a light year. Um, and Proxima currently is on our side of the system, so currently Proxima is actually the closest star.
Okay.
Being part of Alpha Centauri is still a correct answer, but well, it turns out we've known that all 3 stars have planets, but we thought Proxima would just have 2. Now we know it's got 3.
Ooh.
And Proxima Centauri, what are they calling it? I think it's D. I'm not sure why it's D when there's only 3 of them, but anyway, um,
Don't the planets start with B and go outward?
that may be. I'm trying. I'm right now. My brain is not functioning on all cylinders.
Mm, It's all right.
So
It's all right. Um,
I
it's
think
it's a for some reason I want to call it a red dwarf, but I don't. I'm not sure that
Um,
that's entirely correct.
it is a small, low mass star. Um, it's about 4.24, 4.25 light years from our sun.
yep.
She agreed.
Oh, and it's in the southern constellation of Centaurus.
Yep.
Let me see here. I'm trying to find the type of star. It is a red dwarf star,
Yep.
and
And
it,
it's
it only
it's
it only has
variable.
mass.
It's excitable, isn't it? It throws off a
It
lot of
is.
flares.
Most
And
most
it's
red
about
dwarfs are.
1/8 the size of our sun.
Yes. Okay, Proxima D was found using the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope in Chile. Um, D is unfortunately not in the habitable zone. It's actually too close.
Okay.
The
Half an AU.
al-
Yeah.
alpha alphabetized system gives them the names in the order that they're discovered rather than the distance out from their star. So
Okay.
Proxima C is too far out to be in the habitable zone, but Proxima D is too close in to be in the habitable zone.
Okay.
Um, so um, they actually picked it up. They actually picked up weak signals from it. Um, so they're getting, uh, I guess, radio signals from it. And they were able to determine that it had a quick orbit because, of course, as it went around the backside, the star would eclipse it. And so here we go. And so we have a new planet. But
Um, is it a like a hot Jupiter or something really big and really close in,
um,
or
I
is it?
I had heard. I'm not seeing in this particular article. I was able to pull up an article from CNN. I'm not seeing any indication of size, but I had heard that it was a super Earth.
Oh,
But
okay.
but it
That's
might be.
D.
Is that D?
Uh,
Oh, well, that is
yeah.
D. That's the one that just got
That's that.
discovered.
Yeah, we're talking about D.
Oh wait, no. D is a sub-Earth, so it's
It's a
smaller.
sub Earth. Okay,
And then
Okay.
that would make a little more sense that close in.
you see, C is the super Earth.
Yeah.
Let me see what it
And
says.
B is one that's in the
And
habitable
B,
zone.
it's just B is just a little bit bigger than Earth and is in the habitable zone. But the habitable zone is in question because the star is a flare star.
Yep.
Hmm.
So there,
So if there
Now,
was anything there, it would get irradiated every so often.
right.
And
Think the regular stellar flares from a flare star would be the minor flares would be Carrington super flare level. The
yeah,
major flares would be bigger.
that
Proxima
would ruin
Centauri
your whole
C,
day.
It
Proxima
really would.
Centauri C, the super Earth one, or
Uh-huh.
a mini Neptune as they call it, is about 7 times as massive as Earth,
Okay.
and it's about 1.5 AUs out from the star.
Yeah, which given that it's a red dwarf and is a lot smaller than the sun,
That's like that. That's like it's Jupiter.
or further actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So, but excuse me. Um. So that's a tidbit of news, and then another really cool piece of news. This is an absolute first, folks. An exoplanet has now been discovered in another galaxy.
And
That's
what do you mean by an exoplanet?
something that isn't in our solar system. And this one's in another galaxy
Yep.
entirely. So that's way far off.
They actually used a gravitational microlensing technique to
Ooh,
discover.
that's some neat stuff right
Um,
there.
all right.
I just
Ooh,
barely understand that, but yeah, I mean,
this is even better. They're rogue planets.
oh, it's not orbiting any particular star. It's just wandering around loose.
Bingo.
Wow.
So how come it doesn't just wander away then?
It
Well,
does. That's the
it's
thing.
wandering. It's wandering through the galaxy, through that galaxy, and I'm looking
Okay.
to see what galaxy it's in. Theoretically, if it wandered the right direction and had sufficient velocity, it could escape that galaxy. But I'm
That's
not seeing. What
That was
galaxy?
going to be my next question. And
would
if
get
it could come to
really
this
cold.
galaxy,
Well, considering the closest one is 2 million light years away, or have I misplaced a decimal point?
Do what now?
Andromeda is about 2 million light years away, or did I
I
misplace a decimal point?
think you misplaced the decimal point.
Okay.
I'm looking
oh,
at
it fell on the floor there, Dan. It's right next to your left foot.
Hey, I keep losing them. It's like commas. I keep a box close by so I can just slap one wherever I
No,
need it.
it's about 2.5 million light years.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'm still
You need a peppermint, Stephanie. I can
Well-
hear your voice like that.
I'm
Here,
sorry.
I'll fax you one.
Yeah.
Not really. The
And if you don't get that one, I'll get
Yeah.
you this one.
the galaxy that this rogue planet has been found in is 3.8 billion light years away.
Whoa. That's a little bit further than next door.
That's pretty impressive.
That's down the street and all the way to the chemist. Yeah. Wow. And they could pick out an exoplanet, a rogue exoplanet at that distance. That's pretty impressive, right
Using
there.
quasar gravitational microlensing techniques.
So that's when something passes between us and it, and the gravity of the thing that's in between us warps the light coming from behind it and gives us a better image
Yep.
of what it was that's
Bingo.
so far off.
Actually, doggone, hang on a minute here.
Hey, Stephanie.
When I get cat cuddles, I wind up with hair in all kinds of weird places. Evidently, if of course, I'm scanning this article as we're talking. If I'm reading this correctly, holy crap, it's in the quasar.
Okay.
RxJ 1131, 1231. It's 3.8 billion light years away.
That's
It found
that's an
rogue
impressive
planet.
distance there.
It is. That the more I look into this, the more impressed I am by it.
Somebody got good eyes.
Hey,
I
Stephanie.
could.
Yeah.
I was just reading something. They found that planet Proxima Centauri B.
Uh-huh.
The European Southern Observatory in Chile found it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, they got the first indication of it back in 2016,
Okay.
but they only just, confirmed the discovery.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it takes a while. I mean,
Yeah.
you can work on observing something every night for months, even years, before you've got enough data to actually do something with it. Astronomy is not a quick discovery kind of a science.
Now, am I right in guessing that you can only see Alpha and Proxima Centauri from the southern hemisphere of the
Yes.
Yes.
Earth?
Pretty much.
They're
In the southern sky.
They're down south.
The
like
further
Southern
south
Cross
you
would be.
are, the further south you are in the northern hemisphere, the more of the constellation you can see. But to really get a good observation, you got to be in the southern hemisphere.
Okay.
And my voice was not acting up until I came on here.
Well, now you're using.
Well, now
it.
you're talking. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
hey, something else about that Proxima Centauri B? They think it's tidal locked.
Ooh.
Well, that would
That's
kind of make
interesting.
sense.
Yeah.
For for those of you at home who don't know what that means one side of the planet is always facing the same distance of whatever it's orbiting. In this case, a small red.
It's always facing the sun that it's orbiting.
Right.
So around the polar circumference is a little twilight zone, and then the dark side is really cold. The sunward facing side would be
they'd have a sort
much
of
hotter.
If it has, go ahead.
Oh, what would you call that? It's not an equator. That ring around the edge between light and dark. That's mostly habitable.
It's called the Terminator.
Terminator. Yeah, that part
nothing
is probably
nothing to do with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Damn.
I won't be back.
No.
If it has
been. Go ahead, Stephanie. I'm sorry.
If it has an atmosphere, that tidal locking can produce some tremendous winds because of the thermal differential between the two sides.
Yeah, the sunward side would be much warmer than the dark side, and the wind would go around.
Yeah.
And if it had one direction or bidirectional, it didn't matter. There'd be a lot of wind because that's a big temperature differential.
And I just found yet another interesting tidbit and piece of news in the astronomical world.
Oh,
It turns out that astronomers have, and now it wasn't in our galaxy, but astronomers have finally witnessed from before through to past the explosion, they have watched a supernova.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And speaking of supernovas, we have a special guest.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and Chris is definitely a shining star in our universe. So
I don't know about that, but
well, if you're not a supernova, you're at least a Chevy Nova.
Hopefully with a 350.
Hey, I like Chevy Novas.
Yeah. I was thinking more of the Marvel universe, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I like Chevy Novas. 350 with a 4-barrel carburetor, you can't beat them.
My brother being a Mopar fan used to make fun of Chevy Novas.
Yeah, then he lost a race to one, no doubt.
Yeah, my family used to have one when I was
used to race pink slips, and he would mostly win.
It was mint green, and it had a 350 in it, and Dad put on glass packs.
That would have been loud.
Yep. It was.
Now, Stephanie, have you got any more astronomical news for us?
No, that pretty much covers it. But yeah, they they saw some initial activity. Actually, it was the University of Hawaii using the Pan-STARRS telescope on Haleakala on Maui.
I'm glad you tried to pronounce that. I wouldn't try.
Well, Haleakala, if memory serves, is an extinct volcano. So, see, because that's my
naturally, yeah. That's one of your other areas of expertise.
And so then they kind of kept an eye on things. So they saw an initial kind of disturbance, and they kind of kept an eye on things. And then on Mauna Kea, the Keck Observatory, and they were watching it, and they saw the supernova. So, and there was they knew, they could tell that there was material around the star when it went supernova, and so that was the previous disturbance that they had seen, like 6 months earlier, 3 to 6 months earlier.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean,
you said they got to watch it from relatively near the beginning to where it is at the moment,
Correct.
and
So,
that probably took some time, I imagine.
well, I mean, they're still observing it, but it's kind of one of those. Um, y- Again, nothing in astronomy is quick, except probably the actual moment when it goes supernova,
Yeah,
because the stuff is the infalling material is moving at relativistic speeds at that point.
yeah,
Um,
rapidly fast.
yes.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
but yeah. So,
so we've never been able to catch anything like that before.
nope.
Oh, this is wild. I love this. I
So
love
it's
this.
it's a
We're
case of now we get to watch and see how it develops as it progresses.
we're learning new stuff every day. This is great.
So let me ask you this: when they get the James Webb Space Telescope fully functioning, and you've got Hubble finally working right these past few years, when both of them are together, is that not going to provide a lot of imagery, and they can use them to kind of enhance
There,
each other? And
you would think, but I've been hearing that they're looking at retiring Hubble.
Mm.
There's even been talk of um,
Point Nemo.
mhm.
Point Nemo.
Well, the actually Elon Musk has been talking about once they retire it, going up there and retrieving it and bringing it home to display in the Smithsonian. I think that would be cool.
It's a
I
shame we
think that
don't
would
know
be
some. It's a shame we don't know some billionaire with a really giant rocket that can go up there and get it.
Yeah, boy.
that would be neat, but I'd really like to have it,
Hey, has anybody
updated and
got
refurbished and
Bill? Do you have Tony Stark's phone number?
Honey, if you had seen Musk come out on stage the other night, I mean, shades of Tony Stark. I mean, it was. Uh,
You know, he went and built that really cool spacesuit for the Dragon capsule crew members.
mhm.
That the really lightweight, spacesuit.
mhm.
Look like the Fantastic Four.
He really missed the opportunity to like add the Iron Man armor to it.
Well, I don't know. It's like Bill says. There's a definite hearkening to the Fantastic Four in that. Okay,
yeah.
He
according
should have
to
put a logo right in the middle, that kind of looked a little like the four. You're thinking of the blue and silver or gray or
Yeah.
whatever it was. Yeah.
mhm.
Oh.
It looks like, according to what I'm seeing, they're hoping that it will last until 2030 or 2040. So at the very least, it's gonna work out the rest of the decade.
Now, how long has it been up there in operation?
30 years already,
That's a
and
hell of a life for a
that was
telescope.
and that was
Mhm.
2 years ago.
Mm.
Wow, it is a lot longer than Skylab ever did.
Yeah, well,
Well,
Skylab was a little bitty box.
Skylab
NASA
had
NASA
problems
learned a
from the
lot.
get go, so
Hmm.
it did pretty good for what it was.
True.
Oh, X-Men uniforms. That's what that is. See, it's already got the logo on the shoulder,
Well,
Well,
they,
scroll
they
back.
kind of
and they got jodhpurs too.
it kind of loosely looks like the Avengers team uniform that they wore.
Oh,
I
for the,
think it
the
was
time
in
traveling
game.
uniforms.
Yeah,
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 the one that was it in Avengers Endgame movie. I'm
Yeah.
It
thinking.
was,
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Well, Endgame and
Infinity War a little bit.
Infinity Wars, yeah.
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 Okay.
Excuse me.
Um, in game, they had that time travel suit. So that was
Yeah.
Tony Stark type armor.
Well, they used it a little. They used it No, I guess they didn't. I'm getting the two movies mixed up. I'm sorry.
Well, it was a cross between Iron Man armor and Ant-Man armor,
Yeah.
basically, because you put two super geniuses in the same room and they like each other. They're
Well,
gonna
but
they're
but
gonna start working together.
but the guy who was playing Ant-Man in the movies was not the guy who originated the suit.
No,
Mm.
exactly.
He was not the original Ant-Man.
No,
No, the original Ant-Man
he
was the son of
stole that
Spartacus.
suit. Yes. Um, if you're not familiar with the movies, you're missing out because there's a lot of popular mythology in there, and if you like the comic books, there's a lot of shout outs to everything. But
Even if you
they,
don't like the comic books, they're still good. They're just good movies.
yeah, they're great movies, but they're for the old time comic book fans like me, there's a lot of callbacks to the homages to the original stuff, even though the original stuff has been rebooted time and time and time again. But that's the
I
nature of comic books. Nothing is static. It's in flux the entire time.
Yeah.
I always get goosebumps when the portals start appearing
Mm,
in
Yep.
Endgame.
You're
And
supposed to. That's how
Yeah,
they
I
really.
know.
designed it.
on your
But then,
left.
but then I always cry at the end.
Oh
Mm.
yeah. Oh, I cry
So
more. I cry 2 or 3 times before it gets to the end.
I
There
usually
are a
don't.
lot of tear jerking bits that are just
Yep.
yanking on your heartstrings the entire
I
way.
usually don't start crying in that movie until the guy says, "I'm going to get you all the cheeseburgers you want." That just right there, just
Mm.
yeah.
I just popped up Tony Stark in this suit in
Okay.
the stupid o'clock link if you want to pull it up. I think it does look amazingly close to it now that I've seen it again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Point. Can we do a comparison?
I was going to say, so
I don't know if
put
we can
both of
share
them up
two
on the
screens at
screen.
one time. Maybe
Well, what I
maybe a
just sent
rapid
John is
succession,
an
but
image,
yeah.
so
I'm
it's
trying to make
not
it
an
work.
actual link. Yeah.
It's small. I'm trying to make it work.
Now, believe it or not, you can buy for all the cosplayers out there. You can buy these suits
mm,
Yeah, but
because
there wouldn't be one that would fit me.
well, and buying them takes all the fun out of building it yourself.
Also true.
I don't care. I'll let somebody else have the fun, and I'll
I'll have
spend
the
the
fun of
moolah
wearing
and
it.
buy it.
Yeah.
Yes, they're expensive.
Actually, the kid size ones were starting at $79, so the adults couldn't be too much worse. And that's as far as I got because I was looking for the
Oh,
images more than anything else.
thank you, Joe Dog. It's a team. We're pulling together. Just because the CEO is out of commission at the moment doesn't mean we have to close up shop.
Thanks for keeping them off topic.
Yeah. Stop
Well,
touching me,
yeah.
John. Stop touching me, John.
Off topic is what we do best. That's the spirit of this show is topic drift. Oh Lord.
I think he
Well, we
gets
were done with one topic, and then we went to the other topic, which loosely relates to the first topic in more of the science fiction comic fantasy sense. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, as long as we don't go all Topicana there, everything tastes like orange.
This is not the same thing I was drinking last night. I'll let you know. I've got some stomach issues and that, so I'm drinking hot maple tea the British way, mind you.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, well, I don't know if you can see it without me spelling it, which I just did. So anyway, but yes, I put milk in it because that's how I drink my tea.
Well,
But
If it's hot tea, I drink it with milk or cream.
mm-hmm.
If it's cold tea, I drink it with sugar and lemon.
sadly, it has to be lactose-free milk with me, but that's okay. It still works. It's whole vitamin D milk and just no lactose. But
I shall return. Oh,
after
that's
these
the wrong damn
messages,
button. That is the wrong damn button. There we go. I've clicked the button next to it. Sorry.
I'm gonna see if I can't put together a quick comparison of the two suits. Just
I could do it in PixArt if I had the other picture, but and John, the other two links I put into the Stupid O'Clock are this day in history links. One being anniversary of the passing of Charles Schultz. And the interesting thing about that, because I did it as a link, there are like 58 or 60 different editorial cartoonists doing their tribute to Sparky on the day that he passed away in 2001. And then the second one is just 39 years ago today, the finale of MASH, Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen, aired on CBS television.
that was another one that got me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, the chicken on the bus.
The chicken on. Oh yes.
And that's the kind of, by God, it was her child, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was well done. Almost, well, the first time or two I watched it, I thought too long. And I know it was supposed to be a movie. And it ran, what, 3 hours? Or something, well, with limited commercial breaks. But yeah, I actually still have the TV guide with the great big goodbye, farewell, amen thing in there, and a big tribute that TV Guide did to MASH in 1983.
Yeah, I was out a little earlier today, and I noticed they have the complete series of MASH for $73 at Walmart.
Yeah,
DVD.
I bought the one that has the series, it has the special, the reunion special, and then it has the original movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, it has the goodbye, farewell, and amen. It's called Martini, something in Martinis, the complete MASH series, and it came out maybe 15 years ago.
Wonder if it's IV in martinis, because I think they used an IV bag to filter the martinis in. If I
Yeah,
remember
it's
correctly.
something in Martinis is the name of the actual complete collection. And it comes in this great big, huge olive drab green cloth covered cardboard case.
Yeah.
And then all the little things open up. It's really nice. I know I paid like $119 for it when I bought it. Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize for going in and out. I'm sure people don't want to hear me blow my nose. I was out doing yard work earlier, and evidently it got the sinuses working overtime.
Break out the Zyrtec. That's why I have a cough button with a little red light on it that I hit when I go to cough, because sometimes I can't cough just once. and I don't want to cover up. I know my microphone is pretty out there and sensitive, so I don't want to cover up something important that somebody else is saying. So I hit the cough button. And then sometimes I actually even remember to hit it again instead of doing this. And then somebody else says, Bill, you're muted.
I'm glad to say that little restroom break came at an opportune time. And I remembered to get my mustache trimming scissors and get that wild hair that was driving me crazy. I'm sorry, my peripheral vision is such that I can actually see my eyebrows and my mustache and my nose just looking forward.
And I've seen that wild hair hopping around behind you. And
yeah, really.
Poor little guy. I hope he's okay.
No, that was the pet jackalope. The wild hair is off with Wild Cherry, and they're recording a new album.
And I'm sure it's pretty funky.
Boy.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to play that funky music, White Boy.
Play that funky music. And everybody thought Wild Cherry was all black band. Because of that.
I was about to say, I have seen several people doing music reaction videos that go, "We thought the lead singer was a black guy," and
they're white.
Yeah, well, that's not the case this time.
I can't remember the lead singer, the leader of the Average White Band, but they were talking with them on a radio interview one time, and they said, we knew we sounded black, and that's why we called ourselves the Average White Band. And he said that is the reason why they chose that name, because everybody thought
in Florida.
John, check the messenger.
You did it, Stephanie. Good work.
Thank you.
I
didn't crop it cleanly, but it works.
It is functional. That's all that counts.
Yep.
And you did it while multitasking, so
well,
to you again.
Oh wow! Yes,
that's what I used to do, was multitask. So when I worked shuttle program.
Damn, I don't know why I'm bragging about my graphic arts.
Honey, I just
really on up there.
No, that wasn't any big deal. It was a copy and paste and a copy and paste over. So no big whoop. If you can throw it up there so folks can see, that would be.
I told you Elon Musk missed it when he didn't put the little plastic shoulder pads and chest armor and stuff on it.
Ooh.
Excuse me.
Oh, there. Did I not do that? Okay, sorry.
Evidently, I'm still useful for something. Yep.
Some familiar lines in it.
Yeah.
Dang
the helmets
bastard.
are a lot alike. I didn't find an image with the helmet from the movie, but the helmets are a lot alike too.
Actually, the Avenger suit looks a lot like something out of Mass Effect.
Yeah.
For those of you who are familiar with that game.
The stuff from the Avengers movies was more pointed, like a motocross bike helmet, rather than a standard motorcycle or spacesuit helmet, which is much more flatter face. And Joe Dog, what are you complaining about me not killing my mic when I shut off the camera?
Because we can hear you go to the bathroom.
Behind two closed doors?
Hey, you'd be surprised.
He's medicated. Give him a break.
He's not medicated enough. He's still complaining.
Yeah.
He was trying to be funny and it wasn't effective.
Yeah.
He's
hallucinating. Some Thorazine, will you?
Oh, let him hallucinate in his own way. I mean,
Well, if his hallucinations include me.
And
include
eventually he's
being
going to take
able to hear
medicine.
me through two closed doors.
Hey Dan, I can give him some stuff to make him hallucinate.
Well, Statesman Bourbon will do that.
So for those who want to know, Quantum Reality sells a spandex version of the Avengers tech suit, in-game suits, whatever you want to call it, for $77.62. But then another company, which I'm not seeing the name of it, sells a leather version of it for $179. That looks a whole lot cooler.
Steampunks unite. Yes.
I don't think the
man.
world is ready for me in either spandex or leather.
You'd be surprised.
Stephanie,
Well,
you've been to
Oh, I
enough
did.
conventions
Really
to know that
screwy,
doesn't matter.
Stephanie.
Wait a minute. Everybody was talking at once, and I didn't understand anybody.
I said you've been to enough conventions to know that doesn't matter.
Does to me.
Well, that is the important point. It does to her. So
And I was saying you'd be surprised because this world's gotten pretty screwy.
I wouldn't think that was a good thing to say there, Chris. I would have kept that one to myself.
I'm not saying anything bad about her. I'm just saying the world's seen a lot of stuff. I mean, it's it's not going to be too shocking to people.
Oh, and here's our first bot for the night. Let me do
Yeah.
the honors.
You go
Bye
right ahead, Dan.
bye. Oh, and another one. They're
Yeah.
coming hot and
And
heavy
another
right
one
now.
bites the dust.
Yeah.
2 in a row.
Wow.
Now, too bad we can't just block those usernames, but they're probably real usernames of real people that got stolen by the bots. So,
Yep.
Glenn B. Fleming, hey, what are you doing awake at this hour?
He probably just woke up.
Oh, he's
He
been
says
awake
he's
for
been
the past
awake for
3
3 hours.
Oh, 3?
Yeah, talk about insomnia. What are you and Ted working on something, and you woke up in a cold sweat thinking Ted might do something without you? Oh, let's see. Can't sleep. Okay.
Well, come on.
Well, come on in. Let me see. I don't know that have I. Okay, got that. And double check and do this. And yes, it takes several steps to do this, but
Yes, it does.
And seriously, this is the GIF I would love for us to use every time we send a bot. When we do the ban hammer on the bot,
that's the neutral
send,
zone.
sending them to the forbidden zone or
Zone,
neutral
yeah.
zone, yeah.
Phantom
Forbidden
Zone.
zone.
Phantom
yeah.
zone.
Phantom zone.
Phantom
Yeah.
zone.
the Forbidden Phantom Zone. Let's go ahead and cross the streams.
Oh yeah.
Forbidden Zone was a movie with Hervé Villachet and Oingo Boingo. Okay, so that's
Maybe we shouldn't cross that particular stream.
it's actually a stream where if you like Rocky Horror Picture Show, it's a stream worth crossing. So.
Phantom zone.
Okay, now that's. Whoa! Sorry.
Yeah.
I tell you, you just got to look at the messenger link.
Uh-huh.
I saw it.
Boy, howdy. Be still my beating heart.
Oh, Sarah Heiser asked for a newbie. What beginner movie is suggested?
And
I'll let you handle that one, Bill.
okay, Sarah, which are you talking about? Avengers movies or Marvel movies or just what? Technical difficulties, right?
This is Dan's that he needs.
Mhm.
You need to put that into the hotkeys.
Oh,
Well, what kind of movie, Sarah? What are you talking about? I mean, we've been talking about the Avengers, so if you
yeah.
want,
That was what my first thought was. So I
if
would
that is,
well,
well,
no, there is a preferred order to making sense
right,
of all the
you
Marvel movies.
and you got to watch more than just Avengers movies to get all the tie-ins and make sense out of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, really, the Marvel Cinematic Universe actually got kickstarted back when Blade was came out with Wesley Snipes, even though it never became the entire connected universe until much later.
Sarah, there are so many when you say sci-fi realm worth watching.
Oh Lord, yeah. I mean, we could recommend our favorites all day long.
Oh yeah, for
Start
decades.
with Metropolis and go in chronological order, and then 30 years from now, you might be halfway through it.
Metropolis is kind of hard to get into as a beginner because it is a silent movie.
Well, then
No.
unless you do the Giorgio Moroder restored version, which he actually uses music and
Yes, there is one in which Queen does the sound or part of
yeah, that
the
is where Lady Gaga got her name from, was the song Radio Gaga.
Oh, okay.
My God, what is that?
That is one hot mama right there.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, what is she trying to be?
Yes,
Herself.
Dressed as?
yes.
Well, the outfit reminds me a little bit of Sarah Douglas from Superman 2, except for the makeup.
I was having fun with it. That it was at a convention.
Yeah.
I was having fun with it.
Okay, now that other picture.
What you can't see is that I've also got on thigh high boots.
Gets better and better.
Now, the only problem with this one is, Stephanie, it's just really small. So I'm going to try and get it up there.
Well, I can try. I've got the original. Hang on. See if this is any bigger. If I can.
Huh, that's a good one.
I missed seeing it. So, how big did it turn out?
I got 300 by 236.
Okay, let me see if I can find it.
It's a little bigger than a postage stamp, about the size of a Zippo lighter.
And John, I just sent you your Russian bot ban GIF.
Sarah, recommended movies to start with. It depends on what you enjoy most. I mean, we could recommend stuff all the way back to the 40s and 50s, or jump forward into the more action movie sort of things that came along in the 70s, or go to 80s and 90s stuff that was somewhat camp but still really entertaining. I'm quite a fan of Buckaroo Banzai, and I'm quite a fan of Big Trouble in Little China, and several other things along that sort of ilk.
Okay.
Shall we say? That's a very useful word, isn't it? Ilk.
It is.
That is Stephanie.
We go there every 2 weeks. Elk Grove Village.
That is Stephanie dressed as one of the men in black, actually standing in one of the mission control rooms at.
Yeah, that's cool.
Where were you?
I was working that mission.
Where, Houston or?
I'm in. It's at the Huntsville Control Center.
And to give you an idea of how much I had to blow it up, look at the Facebook buttons.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's not pixelated to death.
Hey, John's
For
got
what you
some
said,
good
the original one was, yeah.
John's got some good graphic programs.
Sarah, I got a movie. And I think everybody on this panel tonight will agree. For a newbie, a good one to start out with that's got a really good message, but doesn't get too complicated, and it's only one movie, so you don't got to watch a series of them. Silent Running with Bruce Dern. With Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
That is an excellent movie.
It's
You'll cry at the end, I guarantee you.
You'll cry in the middle too.
Well, yeah.
You'll cry a lot. You'll laugh a lot. You know. And Bruce Dern is just good in every freaking thing he does.
Mm-hmm.
Including the 10,000 episodes of Gunsmoke he was on in the 1970s.
Of course, I'm going to mention just some of the classics. You know, the original Star Trek, 1960 Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Two of my personal favorites is the old British Gary Anderson UFO.
Yeah.
And Space 1999.
Mm-hmm.
Which
has to be taken with a small grain of salt.
Yeah.
Doctor Who, you could jump in just about anywhere.
Uh-huh.
The only problem with Doctor Who, it's not always sci-fi just because he's got a time machine, because a lot of it takes place in ancient Rome, and
Well, yeah,
that's still sci-fi because
he's
using.
Watching Doctor Who is like listening to your favorite rock band. Not everybody's going to agree with every doctor.
Yeah.
Or every episode.
Everybody has their own doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I was a Tom Baker purist for years and thought I would not like any other ones. And I was struggling through the David Tennant years, about ready to give up on Doctor Who again. And then boom. Here comes Matt Smith, and then my woman right there, my favorite companion.
A little bit further on, if you can find Logan's Run.
Mm-hmm. That is a good movie. That is a good
movie. Not the TV series. TV series.
No, the TV series.
I like the TV series.
Oh no.
The bad part about the series,
you really had to read the 3 novels that came before the movie in order for the TV series to be a little bit more palatable.
And they never gave the TV series.
I'm trying to avoid most of the kid stuff because I actually, in that time frame, was watching a lot of the kid stuff, sci-fi that came out at the time.
I'm going to have to say the first Men in Black movie.
Yes.
First Men in Black movies.
Definitely.
V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
I like the third one too. I like
the original Star Wars trilogy, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back.
The rest of them, man.
Yeah.
Now, when I was a kid, I'm just going to mention them because I saw them as a kid and they're kid shows. CBS had Space Academy and Jason of Star Command, and the reason I mentioned those two is to go back and talk about Lost in Space with the Robinson family, because strangely enough, you saw a lot of the people from Lost in Space in Space Academy and Jason of Star Command.
Yes, indeed.
Watch if the camp isn't to your taste. Make sure you watch the original pilot episode of Lost in Space.
Yes,
because that had so much potential.
There was an edit that had stuff that got featured in the first 4 episodes of season 1 of the Lost in Space once it hit TV.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole time frame with the late 60s, early 70s, you had Star Trek, of course, but you also had Time Tunnel. What was the one with the submarine?
20,000 Leagues?
No.
Oh shoot! What was
Seaview.
that?
I liked Man from
Seaview,
Atlantis,
Seaview.
but it wasn't necessarily.
Was it Seaview?
No, Seaview wasn't the title. It was
Talking about Sequest
What was it?
DSP.
Lloyd Bridges was in it.
no, in the
first, I
60s.
think.
Oh, Sea Hunt.
No, yeah, that was in the 60s. Yeah, Sea Hunt was a scuba diving program with
Oh.
Lloyd.
No,
But you're talking about 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea, or
No, Voyage to
it
the
was a
Bottom
nuclear
of the
submarine.
Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Voyage in the Bottom Sea. Yeah,
Voyage.
big old Irwin Allen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Didn't they try to make a series out of that, if I remember correctly?
They did make a series. The movie
Yeah.
was good. The series was good. They were loosely connected. The flying sub is excellent.
Speaking of submarine movies, what was it? Incredible Voyage?
Fantastic Voyage.
Fantastic Voyage.
Fantastic
That's-
Voyage. Yes.
Fantastic Voyage.
Yes.
We're forgetting a really, really important science fiction movie, Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden Planet.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
You can't. No, Forbidden be a stepping stone on the way to everything after that.
Yeah.
Hmm. And the people in it, you pay attention, and most of them wound up becoming big stars after that.
Walter Pidgeon was already a big star.
Yes,
Yeah.
And then, of course, you had Leslie Nielsen.
yes.
Yeah. Who
Oscar
was
Goldman.
a
What was his
dramatic
name?
actor
Yes.
before he started doing comedies.
Richard Anderson.
Richard Anderson.
Became Oscar Goldman.
Hal, the cook.
Who wound up in every detective show in the 70s.
Yes, he did.
Hmm.
Starting with Policewoman and on forward. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We see
Earl
Bill
Holliman.
Catherine Shell.
Earl Holliman.
Earl
thank you.
Holliman.
I don't
I
know
was just showing that to Sarah that I'm friends with her, but I was
Yeah.
waiting till you were all done talking.
Yeah, that's second season, Space 1999.
Yep.
Now, one of the
Warren
problems with Star Wars when it came out, everybody that had a camera was making a Star Wars type movie.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
The
Horribly,
Italians
too.
The Italians
Often
were
imitated, never
really,
did.
really guilty of making knockoff Star Wars.
And the classic knockoff, okay, by the famous Roger Corman, Battle Beyond the Stars.
I knew that was going to happen.
Oh, that's the ugliest damn ship.
Well, the thing is, there's a lot of backplay behind that movie because literally, if you look at the list of people that worked on that movie, 10 years later, everybody that worked on that movie is the sci-fi action flick genre. Was it James Cameron
Yeah.
worked on that movie? The special effects guys was Winston. Was Stan
Harry Winston.
Winston.
Stan Winston?
Harry Winston.
Harry Winston. Okay.
Stan Winston, isn't it? Or
I thought it was Stan.
does special effects?
Well, it does makeup. Yeah.
Yeah, makeup special effects.
Okay, yeah.
Monsters and gory stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. What was
As
another-
far as TV series, the original Battlestar Galactica was always a favorite.
the original and the later one was actually.
I like the later one too, but the original one had such an excellent cast. Not that the
And then
Now
Not that
here's
the
a way
lawnmower
that I
wasn't
can
good.
here's a way I can get on everybody's nerves. Whatever you do, Sarah, don't watch Firefly. You'll never watch sci-fi again. I know so many people that love Firefly and bring back Firefly, golly, why did they do it? And you go and you and you just do it as a jab. It's like throwing a little hand grenade in a big old bunker of
and
dynamite.
strangely
Yeah.
enough, Star Wars revitalized Star Trek
Yes, it did.
It did.
because it opened that into, and then you had all the Star Trek movies and the Next Generation and Deep Space Nine and
And I
Voyager.
came out of one of the Star Trek movies to hear some kids fussing about how that totally ripped off Star Trek The Next Generation. They were even using the same theme music. No, I'm sorry. The theme music was developed for the movies, and
Mhm.
Next Generation used it.
Yep.
My husband had to drag me away. I was fixing to go a comic on their butts. Uh,
Star Trek gained cult status though before Star Wars.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
They
it was
were doing
done
it
10 years
because of the
earlier.
conventions in the early 70s.
Well, it also was done 10 years
right.
earlier.
Outer Limits and Twilight Zone, yes, and One Step Beyond, and several other of those really classic series.
Some of which were sci-fi and some of which were not.
The original
once
1950
again.
is The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes,
The original War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
the George Pell version, yeah.
Yeah. And while you're about it, find the and it's not hard to do. You can find it on YouTube. Find the radio broadcast that Orson Welles did of War of the Worlds and listen to it. I do that every Halloween.
I aired that every Halloween night on my artwork channel, the radio version.
Another good classic, The Thing. From
the original black and white.
The original black and white with
that is my absolute favorite movie of all time.
Played the sheriff in
James Arness.
Arness
played the vegetable.
The actual monster, yeah.
A walking carrot. Yeah. And that was also the origin of the phrase "look to the skies."
Now there is a newer version of it.
Yes.
With Kurt Russell.
Much more horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
is also good. That is actually a trilogy.
It's a bit gory, but it's hilariously gory. I'll just leave it. And Stan Winston did the special effects for that, by the way.
And another fun movie that's sci-fi is 1980 Flash Gordon movie, which has Queen doing the soundtrack, and Brian Blessed is a scene stealer.
Brian Blessed, it just totally steals the whole movie.
Oh, Brian Blessed.
And considering that Max von Sydow was one of the stars of the movie, and Brian Blessed just
stole the show,
blew him away. Yes.
Another one of my absolute favorites is Fifth Element, which my wife cannot stand any more than she can stand Big Trouble in Little China or Buckaroo Banzai. For some strange reason, she doesn't like any of those three movies, and I will sit and watch them over and over again.
I will watch Buckaroo Banzai any chance I get.
Buckaroo Banzai was fun. It was
easy
to some extent, but it was fun.
I'm gonna throw a few oddballs.
And it had a heck of a cast: Clancy Brown, Jeff Goldblum, and Peter Weller, and John Lithgow.
It's just
fun. What's his name from Jurassic Park?
Jeff
Goldblum. Yeah.
He covered that. Yeah.
I will tell you, it's cheesy but fun, a lot of fun.
Oh,
Ice Pirates.
Wasn't it?
Ice Pirates is hilarious.
Was it a George Pell, the color version of Time Machine? H.G. Wells. Drat. I'm having a senior moment. Forgive me, Bill.
What was your question, though? I didn't hear all of it.
I couldn't remember who the producer of the Time Machine was. The original color version. Anyway, that's the Time Machine that build when they want to do cosplay with a actual physical vehicle.
Produced and directed by George Pell.
There we go. It was a George Pell. Okay. And
if you're into that sort of thing, how about the grandfather of all kaiju movies, the original Godzilla?
Yep.
Oh yes.
Thomas Blanks approves.
Yep. I actually
with Perry Mason.
No,
the one before Perry.
The original.
Oh.
Yeah. It was entirely Japanese. Perry Mason did not appear anywhere in it. That was the American release remake. Basically,
And they basically added.
they added in footage with Raymond Burr, and
But I
and
I kind of like that version because of how he was doing it. It was almost reminiscent of toward the one about three quarters of the way into World of the Worlds, where the guy is on the air talking about it and saying they're coming there, and then when they get him with the blast, all you hear is it just going silent, or you hear static.
Mhm. Now
Um,
the original Godzilla, it is in Japanese. You can see it with English subtitles. I don't think there is an English dub because that came later with the one with Raymond Burr, the version with Raymond Burr in it.
which works as Bill says,
works.
it is reminiscent, but there's a feel to the original Japanese version.
It is much more frightening.
Yes.
I'm going to throw in some newer ones. They're cult classics. Okay. Stargate, any of the Stargate series. Stargate SG-1 especially with Richard Dean Anderson. Is just fun.
Yep.
And then let me see. There were two out of
I like Destiny,
I'm gonna
but the
say.
guy that played the Colonel was so boring.
Well, he's
and
supposed to be. That's how
unlikable.
colonels are. But
We'll take your word for it.
um, but Farscape, which was an
Oh,
Australian,
Yes.
that was fun.
and eventually a lot of the people that were on Farscape wound up on the Stargate series.
Yeah.
Another one that was it's really weird and wacky, but it's fun to watch is Lex.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I've seen
That
that.
one is more straight sci-fi than
Yeah, that it's way out there sci-fi.
yeah,
Another one that I
more
like
straight sci-fi than
in that
adventure.
time period was Space Above and Beyond.
Space Above and Beyond was a good one. It was on
It was military
PBS, wasn't it?
sci-fi.
I'm not sure.
Now,
It was
Dan,
Fox.
I have a question for you.
It was Fox Network.
You
I'll give an
mentioned
answer. Let's see if I can say it on the air.
you mentioned, and maybe Chris might know this too, because you're two out of us three music buffs on the panel.
Yeah.
We on Flash Gordon, the 1980 version, when they were trying to, I can't remember if it was brainwash or use mind control, when Ming was trying to use mind control on Dr. Zarkov. He was unable to do it. What was the reason? Why was he unable to take over Dr. Zarkov's mind?
Well, that's easy.
think he was trying to recite multiplication tables or something really, really complicated in his
You're
head.
close, but you got to
Anything-
remember this is 1980.
Yeah.
Anything he could remember. Songs from the Beatles.
Mhm.
He said
The
that
theories of Einstein, the computations of Einstein, and just all this stuff.
he was reciting all the lyrics to every Beatles song off of every Beatle album, and that kept his mind from being able to be manipulated and controlled. I will never forget that. That is probably the only part of that movie, other than the soundtrack, that I like.
Oh, come on. You got to be Gordon? He's alive?
Yeah.
Golden's alive.
Now, actually, there was a rumor that that was the first time that Queen ever got to play around with a synthesizer, and they had a great time.
Oh, yeah.
I find that funny because they had been around for a long, long time, and synthesizers in various forms had also been around during all that time. But if that's the first time they ever got to do anything with a digital polyphonic synth, I would believe it. I would believe it. Those
Yeah, they
things-
did tons of songs with a Moog in that early 70s, but
Yeah, but that's analog.
right.
And you can tell by the sound that the Flash Gordon soundtrack has got a digital polyphonic synth. or at least one, if not half a dozen, daisy chained together.
Okay, so as crazy as the 1980 Flash Gordon movie was, and the way it was all played out, and what special effects they had then, did the Masters of the Universe movie remind you of that? The way they did it in that kind of quirky, goofy way of the battle scenes and everything that they did. Because the first time I ever watched that Masters of the Universe movie, the live action one with what was it, Dolph Lundgren?
Yeah,
That
Yeah.
played
Dolph Lundgren,
He-Man? Yeah.
Frank
Okay.
Langella
Yeah.
played Skeletor, and
Skeletor, yeah. Which he was good. I will give him that.
and James
Dol-
Tolkien playing the cop was fun.
yeah. Dolph Lundgren was just a body and
Hey,
and bad hair.
he's not a bad actor.
Very smart man too.
and he's actually one of those guys I would like to have on the show and have him and Stephanie sit here and talk.
Yeah, he's got like 3 degrees.
5.
5?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, he's got 3 majors and 2 minors. I'm not sure the actual term for it, but they're kind
He
of
was also
interconnected.
in Olympic biathlete, I believe. Biathlon.
That's the one where you ski and then you shoot
and
something.
shoot rifles at the targets.
That's one of my favorite Olympic sports. Now, Bill, to answer your question, until you brought it up, no, I never made that connection. But you're right.
Watch it sometime and if you watch it, then you'll never be able to unwatch or have that going on in your head.
It wasn't
I did
great,
watch
but
it
it
when it
wasn't
was
awful.
new. I did watch it when it was brand new, but I never made the connection between
Another big sci-fi
Black Orphan
series.
and,
Another
Master
big
Chief.
sci-fi series that she probably would like to watch is Babylon 5.
Oh
Yes.
God, that's awesome. The
Yes,
the
it
graphics
is.
are dated, but the cast and the story.
The graphics were
Oh.
dated at first. You could tell they'd done it on a iMac
Mm.
or whatever it was. What was that computer? Everybody was Amiga.
It was probably
or whatever
Amiga.
it was that
Yeah,
were
they
using for
they
graphics.
used a lot of Amigas daisy chained together to do that.
And then eventually, like second season, you saw it gradually getting better to the point where you could actually like see the pilots inside the ship. But it also came out about the same time as that Space Above and Beyond, which had the same graphics issue, and then X-Files, which was another good semi-science fiction kind of thing.
I hope you're writing all this down, Sarah.
It's on the internet now.
She's
All
probably
she's got
gone
to
to
do
bed.
is,
I mean,
all
we're
she's got to
very
do is go back and watch the show.
Well, she thought he said flex instead of licks, and John had to spell it out. for her.
Yeah, she's probably gone to bed.
Oh, Lord.
That was 5 minutes ago. She might still be up. But yeah, Sarah, that was a loaded question. That's why we had
really.
to be a little more specific.
We
And of course-
could do an entire season of naming off nothing but influential sci-fi movies and
Now,
TV.
And
recently, of course, you've got the newer Star Wars movies, which are kind of controversial because some people like them. The Mandalorian series that came out was really good. They've got a new one.
Looking forward to
with
finally
Boba
being able to
Fett.
see those one day if I live long enough.
she's still awake, but not for long.
I know she said she has church in the morning. I don't know if she's playing piano or not at church, though.
They've got some new Star
Sarah,
Trek.
there's also sci-fi horror genre, which Alien and Aliens would be good places
Right.
to start with it.
Space Monsters.
And the Predator. Yeah.
They've got a few new series. Star Trek Discovery.
Oh,
There's a new one coming out. Star Trek Final Frontier or Frontiers. I can't remember what it's called, but it's not out yet. It's still in the works.
we left out something really, really fantastic.
There's
Starfleet
a
Academy
new-
also.
and there's a new one out. What is it? The Expanse,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
when it
I've
started
only
off,
seen
it was a
season
really
one of
good
it, but I
series,
can't-
but they canceled it, and the fans basically revolted and said, and so somebody else bought it and kept it going, and that series is still doing well. And it's got some of the
The
more
Orville?
realistic.
Yes, or
It's got some of the more realistic spaceships in it.
Yep.
And
Now,
Galaxy
what-
Quest.
Galaxy
Galaxy Quest is so much fun.
What I was going to say was the Alien Nation movie, followed by the Alien Nation TV series.
Yeah.
That was awesome in its day. It's probably a little bit dated at now, but for the time, that was some really neat stuff, and it had a lot of social commentary in the
It
TV
did.
series.
And speaking of which, any Star Trek Next Generation episode with Majel Barrett Roddenberry in it.
Yeah.
Because, well, let me rephrase that, because technically she was the voice of the computer, so she was in every Star Trek Next Generation.
But the ones
when
that
she
she
plays
typically appeared in.
Troy episode, yes.
She plays Loxana Troy, who is like this diplomat that is just insane.
And she's Deanna Troy's mother.
Yep.
Yeah, and she's got the hots for Picard.
She's got the hots for everybody.
Yeah.
That's true.
If she finds you attractive,
You're going to get mental telegrams for the rest of your life.
Well,
Yeah.
I love how she flirts with people by, I didn't know you liked me that much.
Avengers
You know,
with
it's to just
Patrick
walk
May.
off.
Yeah, that definitely counts. Yes, indeed.
Somewhat.
That is what
I don't know if I'd put
early
it
to mid 60s,
early to mid 60s.
late 60s. I would
Late-
include
so
Man
into the
from
70s.
Uncle.
Well, it depends. That one was late 60s, and then they did the new Avengers into the
Mhm.
70s. So,
and one that is cheesy but funny as all get out. If you love Bruce Campbell, Alien Apocalypse. It's got him and Renee O'Connor from Xena Warrior Princess.
And if you really don't mind a few jump scares and things, the stuff that Bruce Campbell did with Ted Raimi. Help me out here. Oh, Chris is gone now.
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. Yes, thank you. He jumped back in. Yeah, Evil Dead and
that's
Evil
not
Dead 2.
sci-fi,
and
though.
Army of Darkness.
No,
No, but it. Well, Army of
that's
Darkness.
horror.
Army of Darkness is a time travel movie, so technically it's sci-fi.
Yeah.
Um,
It starts
Now,
to-
on the Avengers, who was the female?
nicotine. What?
Who was the female lead in the Avengers
There were
before?
three. There were
Diana Rigg.
Before Diana Rigg.
three. As I said, there were three, and Diana Rigg was the third one.
Third or second?
I would think third, but
Or maybe. Well, yeah, you're probably right.
Honor
She's probably
Blackman?
the last one.
Honor Blackman was one.
Honor Blackman. I think Honor Blackman was the first one. Thank you, Glenn.
And Glenn pointed out Captain Scarlet, the Jerry Anderson.
Oh, yeah, all the Jerry Anderson.
Oh,
Anything.
yeah.
That's all Jerry
everything.
Anderson pretty much did.
Fireball XO5, Supercar,
Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds. Oh Lord, yes, Thunderbirds. That's so sci-fi. But you've got to be willing to watch puppets act.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
Sarah,
marionettes,
apologize for
basically.
the information overload, but
Yeah, there was a big to do about Space 1999 being the latest super marination with life-size puppets that Jerry Anderson did.
Ooh.
And, yeah, that was supposed to be an insult to the actors and actresses in Space 1999.
not exactly.
No, because
I-
UFO came before that.
Not exactly sci-fi, but the old series Mission Impossible,
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
which was
I was thinking about
not
that earlier.
exactly sci-fi.
And Wild
but-
Wild West.
Ooh.
Wild Wild West. The
Now that's
origin-
Sarah's favorite show. I can tell you that right now.
Wild West is the origin of steampunk as it stands today.
Well, Jules Verne.
No,
I totally
Wild
forgot
Wild
about
West.
Joanna Lumley.
Wild Wild West adapted Jules Verne and H.G. Wells and everything else that came before and brought it into the late post-Civil War era and
Well-
made it sci-fi, and that's where steampunk actually came from.
Well, you also get, Jules Verne had, missions to the moon and the submarine and stuff like that. But you can also say that, there's classic literature that was technically sci-fi, like Frankenstein.
Oh,
That was the origin of sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
It was Mary Shelley. She gave birth to science fiction right there. Well, no, I would go back further to the Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri. That Larry Niven pointed out that was the original sci-fi novel because it was a trilogy. It was massive in scope. It had alternate worlds and all kinds of stuff going on with it. And because it's classical literature, people didn't pick up on it being sci-fi until, say, the 60s or 70s.
What about John Carter, Mars? Burroughs.
Yeah. Edgar Rice Burroughs, yeah. That was, and
Well,
it's a
some of
shame
the-
that movie was not given more publicity because it's a good movie. It was just not promoted correctly.
The Prisoner, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some of the
McGowan,
Sherlock Holmes
Patrick McGowan.
stories. Some of the Sherlock Holmes stories partook of science fiction.
Yes.
Ezekiel and the Wheel.
Okay, yeah, you want to go back to the Bible, we can do that.
Technically, there is a sci-fi story in the Bible. So.
There was a NASA scientist that designed a re-entry vehicle based on that chapter of the Bible. I don't know if it would work, but to my teenage mind, it was plausible. Okay, that's as far as I'm going. That was back during the von Daniken days when everybody was ancient astronaut happy. But, things happen.
Okay. She's had enough. She's calling it quits.
Okay. That doesn't mean you're going to shut up. We got to run with it.
She was not expecting 6 dump trucks to pull up to her house and just, dump the entire load of manure.
Yeah. Here comes a fleet of Amazon Prime semis coming down the road.
Oh, don't laugh. Now that we've mentioned all this on the internet, it's going to start showing up in her Facebook feed. They're going to try and sell her,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
The Tomorrow People is a good one.
Oh, yes indeed. Yes, indeed.
It's right in there with Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, what was the?
Which I'm very shocked. I'm very shocked that they never had a tie-in between the Tomorrow People and Doctor Who. I really, they missed that.
Well, yeah, Quartermass. Yep. Quartermass was originally 3 movies and became a TV series at one time.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah. Matter of fact, it might have been a TV series in the 60s and a TV series in the 80s. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm remembering that correctly. So
you got a lot of that 50s, Lizards from Mars type thing. There was a whole bunch of the monster movies. What's his name? With the did Jason and the Argonauts?
The stop motion animation.
I can't believe I can't remember his name.
I'm going to let him sweat it out, Stephanie.
Go ahead. Say it, Bill. It starts with an S.
Sure.
I keep wanting to say Sam Peckinpah because I just saw a Sam Peckinpah movie, but I know it's not Sam Peckinpah, but I can't get the name out of my head. So.
Ray Harryhausen.
Ray Harryhausen. Thank you.
Hey.
Ding, 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 ding.
I might have seen your moments, but then again, things click. Brave New World with Keira Dulia. Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
I just read that book for the first time.
Martian Chronicles.
Oh, yes. Oh, my Lord. How did we forget Ray Bradbury?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Bettina was still around, she'd hit me.
Place up in Marion County here in Tennessee.
Ray Bradbury was a big literary influence on me because I read everything that had his name on it in the school libraries. I mean starting way back.
Oh, um,
I'll be right back, and I'm not going to
back
kill my microphone.
back in the late 70s, early 80s, CBS had this thing called Project Blue Book, which was a UFO series based on actual Air Force files from the Project Blue Book that they did.
I remember that show. I liked that.
Me too.
It was very short lived, wasn't it?
I can't remember if it's 1 or 2 seasons, but it was on at that time in CBS, but I could watch it religiously as a kid. So I watched a lot of CBS as a kid for 2 reasons. 1, they had the best kids programming. 2, they had Star Trek and stuff like that. 3, they had Shock Theater on Saturday night with Dingbat and Dr. Shock. And 4, we live in Tennessee with a lot of hills and mountains, and everybody had those big mast antennas on the side of their house, and CBS was the best reception that we could get at our house. So
People are getting those antennas again now because they're so sick of satellite and getting charged out the yin yang. And
supposedly they work a lot better now because of the digital signal.
well, yeah, oh yeah. And the one that I have just for my apartment, which is not a big outside one like I used to have when I lived in the yellow house still. This one now does have a signal booster attached to it.
Good night, Sarah.
Good night.
Good night.
You know, one I forgot to tell her, and it's kind of I can't believe it because I'm sitting here. It's literally over there on my shelf in a big box set. I'm staring right at it. Earth 2 with Clancy Brown.
Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap. Oh, how did we forget Quantum Leap?
And supposedly that may make a return.
Yeah, but
What?
they're going in a
the Quantum Leap.
completely different direction with it. The guy's not.
Well,
the guy makes
they'd
one
have
leap and stays. He's
Oh,
stuck in
they're
one person. Yeah, he's stuck in one person.
forever.
Don't know.
We don't know.
Well,
But that's not the quantum leap.
The last episode of Quantum Leap
Tore me apart.
stated that he never returned.
yep, and everybody that was a fan hated that ending.
You know, we forgot to mention Star Trek
Yep.
Enterprise.
That's
I
That-
didn't.
that
or
Believe it or
Deep
not,
Space
that
Nine.
that was a very good show. Deep Space Nine was too. I can't actually. I don't know of any Star Trek TV series that I have ever seen that was bad. It might have not been my cup of tea, but it wasn't bad. It just wasn't my cup of tea.
I liked the one thing I kind of liked because I'm kind of a sci-fi purist is when Star Trek Enterprise first started out and they were taking those first steps out into a bigger galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Was some of the they had it almost had like an X-Files vibe for like the first season. Is meeting real aliens and such. And there was that one where they got shot up and they went to that repair station, and it was an automated repair station, all robots and computers, and was fixing their ship, and it would fix their ship in exchange for commodities that it needed. And then it turned out a couple members of their crew wound up missing, and the ship was the repair station had this AI computer, but it augmented the AI in the computer with human brains. So there were all these people in there connected into it as processing units to run, and they had to go in and rescue their crew. And
How
they
very
wound up-
Borg.
Yeah.
very, it's shades of Borg. It very much was. So,
The reboot that I hated the most, that I think it was CBS or was it AB? No, maybe it was ABC, was the reboot of Kolchak the Night Stalker called the Night Stalker.
I hate to say that. Just without Darren McGavin, it just
Yeah,
Yeah.
he made that. He really
Well,
made
the way the whole premise of the new one, that Kolchak's wife was killed. Every episode he's out searching because he's looking for revenge. And I'm like, that's not what Kolchak did. I mean,
No, he was a
yes,
reporter.
it was Darren McGavin, Kolchak, Chicago newspaper journalist that bumbles into every
weird
biggest story in the world that ends up that he can't print.
No evidence. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what we forgot to tell her? And it's a really good one.
Invaders.
Eureka.
Oh yeah, Eureka. That was a really good one.
Yep.
Now the Invaders.
What was the other one? Warehouse 13.
Warehouse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The Invaders, the original. Was it Roy Thinnis?
Yeah. When I first saw that, which it came out, what was it, 68, maybe 67, 68?
It was around in the not long after Lost in Space, the original Lost in Space started.
Right.
And it was before Star Trek started.
Right. So I had just fell in love with that show.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. I had the original, I can't remember if it was AMT or if it was Aurora, Invaders,
the flying saucer.
Spaceship crap, the flying saucer. I had the model of that.
I couldn't
loved it.
I had the model myself, and I couldn't tell you if it was AMT or Aurora. I want to say it was Aurora because AMT did a lot of snap together stuff.
Right.
And then this was a definite glue together model.
Which Aurora originates out of Aurora, Illinois, suburb of Chicago. But anyway,
got an asymmetrical head here.
I wouldn't blame him.
There was a mini series decades ago called V. Does anybody remember it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mark Singer, Jane Badler.
I like the movie, hate the show.
Richard Englund.
Yep.
Yeah,
I didn't know there was a movie. Okay. I knew there was a.
It began as a movie. It began as a movie and then came to TV.
Yeah.
Suspiciously like Battlestar Galactica.
Well, I want to finish my thought about the Invaders real quick, which is simply this. MeTV, their Saturday night sci-fi, all the late night, which usually they jam pack it full with Irwin Allen stuff, had the Invaders on there. And I thought, oh, great, I get to watch the Invaders again. I remember this. I loved it. I had the little big golden book of it and everything. And I started watching it, and I just got bored beyond tears. To me, they say some things that you just thought was the best things when you were a kid either become very dated or your taste change, or it's just not what it originally was.
Yeah, that was a Quinn Martin production. They did the FBI and a few other procedural sort of shows as well.
And they let you know, beginning of every episode, a Quinn Martin production.
Oh, yeah. Well,
but yeah, for some reason, I could not get hooked back into it again.
Maybe because we've been introduced to so many other things with, if not a similar theme, then a parallel theme, and the production values were a bit higher.
Yeah.
Although the acting was still good.
Yeah.
But basically, you were waiting for Gilligan and them to get off the island. Every week you thought they would. And I saw a parallel with the Invaders and several other, Valley of the Giants and stuff like that too. It was the same thing every week. What are they going to do?
How are we not going to be able to escape this week?
Mm-hmm. And will the Harlem Globetrotters play against Gilligan and the crew?
Yep. Invaders is just the fugitive in color with a different lead.
Exactly.
Yeah. And to that extent, it was the same as the original Incredible Hulk.
Hmm.
It was a guy running away from a reporter or somebody trying to keep him from discovering the truth about something. It's a very, very loose genre there. Uh, Roy Thinnis in Jerry Anderson's Doppelganger. Yeah, I remember that movie very, very vividly. Yes. Um, Doppelganger concerned an alternate Earth on the exact opposite side of the sun from us, which Stephanie will be glad to point out is not physically possible because of the orbital mechanics of the solar system. But it was a very, very good movie. Um,
Well, I actually there are movies that are pretty cheesy in many respects, but they at the time, there were things that they didn't know about the science, and so they could come up with some interesting movies that way. And one of my favorites in that regard is called Them.
oh yes,
Hmm.
that was the one. I think they were showing it at a sci-fi convention, and H. Beam Piper came out of the room they were showing the movie and shaking his head in disgust. And somebody asked him, "What? You don't like science fiction?" And H. Beam Piper says, "Hell, I write the stuff. That's not it."
You
Yeah, but at
mentioned
the
the
time
Incredible
they didn't.
Hulk. Oh,
At
no,
the
go ahead.
time they didn't know those things couldn't happen.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there was a whole bunch of radiation is evil sort of movies in the '60s, and
Well, Godzilla started them.
well, yeah, that was
Not only that,
19,
you
that
had
was
World War II.
1957. Actually, Godzilla and I share a birthday.
Oh, really? Godzilla was in 57? Because Them
Yep.
was in 54.
The original Japanese Godzilla might have been 54 as well. I think the Raymond Burr version of Godzilla was 57, but
57 for Raymond Burr.
hmm, um,
Okay, Stephanie said cheesy movie.
oh Lord.
Dan, you said the Incredible Hulk. I'm going to merge them together and say the Incredible Hulk
versus Godzilla.
featuring Thor.
Oh, that was
Yeah, that was
yeah.
That
that
was
was
not cheesy. It was fun. It had Eric
Mm.
Allen Kramer and Lou Ferrigno. They were the biggest
The,
bodybuilders in
that
Hollywood.
was in the closing era of the Incredible Hulk TV series. They were winding it up.
well, they did a bunch of them.
Well,
And
they did at least
some of them
three.
wasn't bad. The Daredevil ones weren't too bad. And I
Y'all
know
had
they
Will
were
Smith in it as Matt Murdock. He actually was pretty good in it.
right. And they were wanting to spin that off and that unsuccessful on that. But I'm sorry. The body playing Thor um, reminded me of some big college football player who won all the beer drinking parties. And as far as the costume for Thor, it was like a very bad cosplayer coming to a convention in in a very bad Thor.
Yeah, basically
Well,
the costume was a couple of pieces of shag carpeting.
Yeah,
and they
on
portrayed
his
him more,
shoulders for shoulder
Uh-huh.
pads.
and they portrayed him more as a Viking legend than a god. Because he enjoyed drinking, he enjoyed, you being with the women after battle and all that stuff. They had him more as a Viking than a god.
Mm.
But Eric Allen Kramer played the part as good as he could play it. I mean, the thing is, did
There's
not
only
have
so
the
much you can
uniform.
do with a script.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the guy that was the research scientist who discovered Thor's hammer was a little cheesy. That couldn't be helped, but the guy playing Thor tried to play him as true as a Viking would have played him.
Mhm. Now, Glenn, I don't think I'm going to agree with you here. Goldblum is not terrible by even any stretch of the imagination. Now,
But he is one of those personalities that just no matter
he
what movie he's in, he's
he
Jeff
does
Goldblum.
whatever he's hired to do.
Didn't he do The Fly?
Yes, he did, and he also
Yeah.
did Earth Girls Are Easy.
Well,
Talk about
Independence
cheesy.
Day.
That's cheesy, right there.
he's sort of like Dennis Hopper and Nicolas Cage. He more or less plays the same character in every film, just has a different name and
Yeah.
slightly different line.
Well, I mean, he was still Jeff in Buckaroo Banzai, but
Yep.
John Wayne is a terrible actor. Okay, I'm just going to say that right off the bat. But he's a great big personality.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And give you an example. He worked with two of the biggest directors in Hollywood, John Ford
Mm-hmm.
and
Howard Hawks.
Howard Hawks. Thank you.
Yep.
John Ford and Howard Hawks. But any movie that he was in was not a John Ford or Howard Hawks movie. It was a John Wayne movie.
hmm
You know, that's just how big a personality he was. Jeff Goldblum's the same way. He's just one of those personalities. No matter what role he plays, it's Jeff Goldblum.
it's Jeff, yeah. And if you go into the movie that he's in, and you know it's Jeff,
To give you an example,
you can
look
have
at
a
any
good
movie
time.
Jeff Goldblum was in. He's the one actor you can actually remember the name of. Jurassic Park.
Jeff Goldblum.
You know, you got to that Sam Neill guy, and then what's her name? Laura Dern. Oh yeah, she was in. Oh, and Sir Richard
That
Adams.
was from 60, I think.
And Newman. Don't forget Newman.
Newman and Samuel L. Jackson.
Newman's favorite last scene.
Well, that I think that's the only movie that Samuel L. Jackson has ever been in where he did not get to use the MF quote.
I'm not sure if he used it in The Spirit or not.
He might have mouthed it.
Oh,
He might
Star
not have said it.
Wars.
Star,
I don't think he said it in Star Wars.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
don't think he was standing there in front of the Emperor going, "Come at me, motherfucker."
They would probably.
It would have been an
I
improvement, though.
There was
But
a
what I
case
they
thought
should
that
have-
I wish they'd have saved.
What I thought was funny in Infinity Wars was when they cut him off. He dissipated in the middle of it.
Oh yeah, right in the
They cut him
middle.
off in the middle of it.
Oh,
What was it? Deep Star 6, where he was about to go on a soliloquy and the shark came up and bit half of him
He was
off?
just finishing and telling everybody how they were. He was a survivor and they were all going to survive. And the shark jumps up and eats him. That's
and
The original Japanese version of Godzilla was 54, same year as them.
Okay.
So there must have been
And-
something going on that I guess it was maybe the testing.
yeah,
They Live was an enjoyable film.
yes, it was. I saw that in the theaters when it was brand new. It was. I've got to say, now I was in my late teens, and it was not easy to understand what was going on until halfway through the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But once you understood what was going on,
Yeah.
it was fantastic. But up until that point, it was really weird.
And it's got one of my favorite character actors in it.
Lou
Keith
Gossett.
David that played
Keith David.
played the guy that he had a battle with and actually became friends with. Had
Mhm.
that big fight with, and then they actually became friends.
Why did I think that was Lou Gossett Jr.?
Because they both have distinctive voices, big presences, and they do
they
great.
they
in
both
the
pretty
film
much do
they're
the
in.
same job.
Okay.
He also played Captain Anderson in Mass Effect film, TV
Video game.
PC games. Yeah, video games.
Oh, we forgot about one of the Quaid brothers in I think it was Blue Gossett Jr. in Enemy Mine.
Yep.
Yes.
That would
Yeah.
have been Dennis Quaid.
I think Glenn mentioned
Dennis
that
Quaid.
earlier.
Yeah, he
Pay
did.
attention to the time, guys.
Oh,
7 till.
Yeah.
ooh, okay. It's almost the end of the show. Thank you, Stephanie. Yep. And John, if you want to hit the high flight at 2 minutes till,
Sure.
I will jump over and get the other show started. And
Yeah.
Which I'm
I
always late coming over to the other show because I always have to watch High Flight all the way through.
that is not a problem. That is not.
Yeah. That's
And unfortunately, I won't be able to join you tonight.
Stephanie, I'll give you.
Last
I don't know
minute.
if your computer can handle it, but if you could bring up one of our YouTube links that we've got up there, you can actually watch it on YouTube while you're turning off this StreamYard feed and go into the other one.
Mm.
Yeah, but I have
Who
to
narrates
lose
that?
myself in it.
Yeah.
Just,
She's
just
I
losing
so
have
you
to
know,
lose myself in it.
value.
the aircraft in our particular version of High Flight is an F-104A
Four-star.
Starfighter. You can tell it's the A model because it doesn't have the drop tanks, the fuel tanks attached to the wingtips. It has the missile rails.
yeah.
And if you are a Hawkwind fan, you will know the F-104 Starfighter from Captain Lockheed and the Starfighters album that was put out by.
And strange enough, in the classic Hanna-Barbera series Super Friends, Wonder Woman's jet, the invisible jet, was modeled after a 104 Starfighter.
All right. Yeah. I never noticed that. Thank you.
You know
That's-
something I think we forgot in terms of shows? Star Trek the Animated Series.
Oh, yes.
I didn't want to go into too many cartoons, but yes, I would suggest it just because of the great writers.
Yes, indeed. That was a continue. That was pretty much meant to be the fourth season of classic Star Trek.
I will mention one other Star Trek series that is a fan-made series. My friend Chris Doohan's Star Trek Continues.
Okay.
Yes.
And if you've never watched it, watch it. And
I think I have seen a couple of those that were available
Chris-
on YouTube. Yeah.
Chris plays his father flawlessly on it.
Oh,
And
Wow.
it's filmed in the Neutral Zone Studios in Kingsland, Georgia, and they do fan weekends every so often.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And before I forget, need to give them a shout out to The Last Starfighter.
Ooh, yes, you know,
Yes,
we've been
indeed.
talking
Yes,
about
yes, yes.
doing a
That's
sequel
a
to
good
that.
one, yeah. E.T. No.
We've been talking about Black Hole, Disney's first really big sci-fi adventure.
mhm.
We had it
Even though the robots were played for comedy, yeah. I mean,
Nice
Slim
movie,
Pickens
wasn't
as a
it?
robot.
That was a big thing. I mean, R2D2 and C3PO were played for comedy.
No, not really. They had
Twiggy from
comedy.
Buck Rogers was played for comedy.
Well,
That train of thought derailed. Never mind.
Robbie the Robot in Lost in Space, played for comedy. Or I'm sorry, for Forbidden Planet.
he
and
was.
then-
He did
Yeah.
guest star in an episode of Lost in Space.
And the robot
Yep.
from Lost in Space was also there for comedy. So
Well,
He was the
not
straight man.
entirely. Not
he
entirely.
was the straight man.
Speaking of robots, Jonathan Harris as the voice of Lucifer in the original Battlestar Galactica series was such a delight.
Yes.
Yes, and he was in not Jason the Starkman, but the
Space
Space
Academy, I
1999.
believe.
Space Academy. Yes, he was. He played one of the commanding officers there in Space
Mhm.
Academy.
And Pamela Ferdin, who was the
Pamela
voice of Fern on the animated Charlotte's Web movie from 1973, and then she's also played the youngest daughter on the Paul Lynde show from the early 70s.
She has done
And she
a
was in the
lot
movie
of
with
things.
Clint Eastwood,
Yeah,
The Beguiled.
she's on my Facebook friends list. She's always posting about all the stuff that she used to do.
Mhm. Yeah, me too.
I did, I recognized your face from all this, but I didn't ever know your name until now when you're grown up and
Well,
I'm
it was an
grown
Old
up.
Curiosity Shop,
Mhm.
the TV series,
Mhm.
which didn't that have? What was the comedian's name? With the glasses. He was
That
always on
narrows it
Hollywood.
down.
He was always on Hollywood Squares too. Charles Nelson.
Charles
Riley.
Nelson.
Charles
Oh,
Nelson
Charles
Riley.
Nelson Riley. Yeah, Uncle Croc's block
Uncle
on
Croc's
every
Block.
Saturday morning. And you mentioned Curiosity Shop, so I'm going to have to mention this because my friend Ron Ferdinand, who does Dennis the Menace, always posting pictures of Hank Ketchum, the originator of Dennis the Menace, when he had his appearance on Curiosity Shop. There.
There you go.
It's time. I'll see y'all on the other program.
Good night,
Anybody-
everybody.
Bye, con Dios,
Good
amigos.
night.
Oh, I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.